Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today we have a member-inspired edition. My buddy Laik Gullickson sent me an email and brought up the idea that I might be a government plant, like some kind of operative or something, because I have a crazy background. He listed the reasons why I could be, right? I have a crazy background, a military background. I've got a job that has a lot of freedom, being a self-employed handyman. I've got some technological savvy that I use Linux and stuff. And he brings up a lot of good points. He brought it up in a friendly way, you know, and he wasn't accusing me, just pointing out, and he thought it would be a good idea for a video, and I agree. And to answer that, I definitely have been accused of that in the comments. People have accused me of that. Oh, you're a government plant. And it doesn't bother me because I think y'all are government plants, to be honest. A lot of times people will say stuff to me that is a little across the line of as far as extreme right, you know what I mean, or extreme freedom and you know, I mean, we're all feeling it, and but when somebody says it to me in a YouTube forum, I'm thinking, well, this is a government plant, you know what I mean? This dude's trying to get me to say something that I shouldn't say. So I totally get it. I totally understand where that, you know, where that idea comes from, that somebody else is a government plant. When I think about it, I think I would rather be among that group of people who are suspicious of each other being government plants, rather than, you know, a group of people who just, you know, think that the government wouldn't do that. The government wouldn't plant somebody among us to track us and stuff and keep tabs on what we're saying and that kind of stuff. The government wouldn't do that. The government loves us. The government wouldn't, you know, seed the clouds or you know, or create viruses or any of this kind of stuff. They just love us, right? They wouldn't do that. I would rather be amongst a group of people who all think that I'm a government plant, rather than amongst a group of people who just believe that the government wouldn't do that, right? They wouldn't even think about that. So I have no problem with that, honestly. I don't. If you think I'm a government plant, then you're my people. I fit right in. I'm just saying, I'm talking to the right crowd. If you got questions about me, I got questions about you. So we're seeing eye to eye. You know what I mean? So all right. Now, the only real, I don't have any proof that I'm not a government plant. Okay, let's put that out there, of course. And if you've listened to me for a while, you know that I see a big difference between proof and evidence. Okay, the reason I don't have any proof that I'm not a government plant is because I can't prove a negative. I can't prove that I'm not an alien either. I can't prove that I'm not, you know, whatever. I'm not psychic. I can't prove any of that stuff. The things that I'm not, I can't prove that. I can prove what I am. I'm me. So I can stand in front of you and shake your hand and you know I'm me. But as far as proving what I'm not, I cannot do that. But the strongest evidence I have that I'm not a government plant is my entire message for this YouTube channel is to think for yourself. A government plant wouldn't do that. A government plant, I believe, would try to get you to think in some kind of way. You know, if I was a Russian agent or something, I would try to get you, I'd be pro-Russian or something. I'd be something, you know, but I question everything, literally everything. The only thing I could be a plant of is a freedom-loving, patriotic plant, you know? Because my advice is to question everything. I try not to get people to believe things or sound like I'm trying to get people to believe anything. I don't know if the earth is spherical or flat. I don't know if I don't know hardly anything that I hear or see on the internet. I don't know. I have questions and I lean in a certain direction. I tend to believe that the earth is a sphere. Do I know that? No, I do not know that. I don't. I just don't. And to be perfectly honest, if you're honest with yourself, you don't either. And the only ones that know that are the astronauts. And that's if they've been up there. If they haven't been up there, all they know is that, the people are being lied to about the astronauts going up there. They still don't know whether it's flat or not if they haven't been up there. So, we all just have to take the evidence that we see. And along with that, there is literally tons of evidence saying that the earth is flat. Tons of it. But no proof. No proof. So that my point in that is that I have no proof that I'm not a plant. And y'all can't prove to me that you're not plants either, right? You can't prove to me that you didn't follow this channel to try to get me to say some shit that I'm not supposed to say. But when I think about that, I'm like, somebody will say something to me in the comments and I'll be like, I shouldn't respond to this because that could get me in trouble. And then I'm like, well, would the government really, try to get, track down some handyman from Bum Chippewa, Florida, and, try to get them to do, say some weird shit. But I don't know. I don't think so, really. I don't think the government would waste their time, but I'm not willing to bet 10 years in federal prison on it. So I just kind of keep it chill. I guess some of my beliefs and what I think should happen or be done, I keep to myself, even here. I don't lie. I just don't let my full self be out there for AI and government to monitor. So put it that way. But yeah, and that's another thing with the AI. The AI just scans now all of my dialogue, all of your texts. They scan your text because they delete them. The AI just deletes them automatically. That's not a person sitting there watching, what is it, like probably hundreds of millions of lines of text entered in YouTube every day as though they can delete them automatically. That's AI. It's an algorithm. They scan that shit in seconds and just delete it. So all of that stuff, all of my dialogue, all of your text, everything all of our interactions are scanned by AI. Any keywords are flagged and either just deleted, but I guarantee you they're saved and somewhere. And I don't know if the government is watching that stuff, if Google and YouTube are sending that stuff to the government. I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me if they were, but they can't act on every single thing somebody says in the comments. I'm not afraid of that. But at the same time, we have to be, you have to be somewhat cautious about what you say. And that leads me to, y'all being plants. Now, it's perfectly possible for some of my followers to be plants and to be, trying to get me to say stuff or present some of my ideas here. And I get that. I just don't think it's probable. And even the only one I'm absolutely sure is not a plant is Laura Ann, because no government agent is going to drink Mad Dog and Jolt and then chase Skunk Ape through the woods. So I'm pretty sure she's not a plant. But the rest of y'all are suspect. So yeah, I got my eye on the rest of y'all. And the two people that I've had conversations with are Laic and Brad. And I would be pretty sure that they're not plants. They're pretty good dudes. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that they're not plants either. So they're off the suspect list. But yeah, I think it's healthy. I think it's good that we keep an eye on each other and ask questions about each other. I think that's a great thing. I think we should. I think we should do that with everything in life. Every person we meet, every podcaster we follow and listen to, everybody. I mean, I've asked that. I've thought that about Joe Rogan and Alex Jones, whether or not they're some kind of government psyop plant. I don't know, but it's crossed my mind a few times when they say some stuff, and I'm like, that's in the gray area there. I'll give them a pass this time, but I'm watching them now. Yeah, so I question them all. The only one I'm absolutely sure of is myself, and probably my brother. So, and my dog. Though my dog is questionable sometimes, but yeah. I think it's healthy that we question everything and everyone. There's no harm in it, as long as you don't take it to the extreme end of the spectrum and get really paranoid to where it's affecting your life. A small amount of paranoia, I think, is healthy. The old adage, everything in moderation. That's great. Ask questions, question everything, but to be paranoid and afraid of everything, that's different. To be curious and ask questions, that's great. But paranoia to the point where it affects your life, just like drinking. You can have a beer once in a while, but when we start drinking to excess and it starts affecting our life, then now we got to start thinking about it in a different light. I might have a problem, and that's with anything. Driving fast, you can take that anywhere, and eating, everything. Literally everything. If you do it to excess, then it's bad. But a healthy dose of skepticism and questioning things around you, I think, is better, is best. I think that's the best way to live life. So to ask questions of me, is Jesse a government plant? I wholeheartedly endorse that. Yeah, go ahead, ask it. Ask away. Like I said, I can't prove it. I don't have any document saying I'm not a government plant. I don't have any proof. But yeah, the only people who know for sure are my family. They know. They just know me. If somebody suggested that to them, they'd laugh because they know me. So they know how much I despise the government and authority and being told what to do. So yeah, but I think it's all in good fun, but I think we should take everything that we hear or we read or any of that kind of stuff and question it. Look at it with a critical eye. Don't take anything I say as wholehearted fact, because honestly, I know very few facts, right? Water is wet, this kind of thing. I don't know any facts about, what the government is doing. All I know is what I've heard. I've read that they're not spraying anything in the air, that it's just water vapor. I've also read that they're spraying a bunch of stuff in the air, from aluminum, whatever, oxide, or cloud seeding shit. I don't know. Little particles that reflect the sun. All kinds of stuff I've read. So I have to take what I've read and then compare those to my observations during my life of the planet, and then see which one makes more sense. All right. And then just lean in that direction. I can't say, 100% they're cloud seeding. Because I don't know. I haven't been up there in the clouds while they were seeding them. So I believe that they're cloud seeding or whatever, or aluminum, whatever they're doing. I don't know. I believe they're doing something strange. They're doing something that they don't want us to know. But as far as what it is, I don't know. But I believe they're doing something. And that's the basic direction or foundation from which I'm coming from. I don't know. I ask questions and I try my best to figure out what's going on in the world. And I think that's pretty strong evidence against me being a government spy or a government plant or something. Because I'm inviting you to ask questions with me to help me figure this stuff out, to figure out which way we should lean, not, which way we should indoctrinate ourselves to an absolute truth, because there are no absolute truths. There never will be, because we'll never know. I'm never going to be up in the clouds watching them seed. I'm never going to, I'm never going to be there watching them give the cows injections to stop them from farting. I'm just never going to be there to witness it myself. So all I know is what other people have told me. I can't travel back to the past, to the Roman Empire, and verify any of this shit that I read about it. So I'm never going to know. All I can do is take the evidence and see what makes sense in my brain. And some of it's going to be wrong. Some of it's going to be wrong. Some of the stuff that makes sense to me would just be wrong. I don't know how else to put it. I'll lean in one direction, and that's the wrong direction. And we all have to face that. We all have to realize that we're just going to be wrong sometimes, and try to avoid that. And to wrap this up, I'll reiterate the message that I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy that we question each other. We question each other's motives. We question each other's message. We question everything. Question everything. If I'm a plant, then George Carlin was a plant, because I believe he's the only one that told us the truth. I honestly do. He's the only one in my entire lifetime who told us the truth. They are lying. Question everything. All right. So I'm as much a plant as George Carlin. Put it like that. How does that sound? Because my philosophy is the exact same as his. Question it all. They are lying to you. They are trying to herd you like cattle or sheep. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, I'll put that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there. Or you can head over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I'll put that link down in the description too. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble. Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff. T-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff over there. But I'll leave that link down in the description as well. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out a hell of a lot, so thank you very much to those of you who do that. I sincerely appreciate it. And if you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us, and the email is genxthinks@gmail.com. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.